All right, we're back again talking on the couch about guns. This is Max Headspace 9mm with my friend Yumpin Yimini Foy. And I got a question for you, Yim.
Yes,
Have you heard of that thing called Bitcoin?
I have. I regret not getting in at the ground level.
Pretty much everybody does. Anything that succeeds wildly, everybody wishes that they had not been skeptical in the start. But I got a whole new thing for you, and you can get in on the ground floor.
And what is that?
Have you ever heard of Bit Bullet?
Well, I have now. Tell me more about it.
We're going to talk about that today on Max Headspace 9mm. So everybody loves getting a new gun, right? Well, what about ammo? Ammo is kind of a necessary evil. You have to have it, otherwise the gun doesn't work. So people don't get that excited about ammo unless they hoard it. Unless they have something in their mind where the more they have, the more exciting it is and the more powerful. Do you have any thoughts about that? Do you like feel like people that stockpile ammo are kind of crazy, or do you think they're kind of smart?
Well, it kind of depends. You remember 20 years ago when you could get a box of 22 ammo, 550 rounds, for about $13.
Yep.
And now they're selling you 325 for about $40.
Yep.
You know, so, and we all experienced that. What was this? 8-10 years ago, when it just dried up. So maybe buying it, you know, in that context, which everybody did. Everybody started hoarding it pretty quickly. So I think if you can see the writing on the wall, maybe, yeah, it's a good idea, because that went up pretty quickly, while the other ammo did go up, but not as significantly.
Now that we've been through this whole phase of ammo going skyrocketing in price and then dropping back down again, it's a really good time to think about your ammo needs. Keep in mind that all firearms require ammunition. A lot of people don't buy ammunition until they need it. But here's a little thing for you to think about. Have you ever heard of Ken Kesey? Ken Kesey was a pretty famous guy. He was a writer. And he was pretty liberally minded. Well, he had a statement that got me to thinking. He said that constitutionally, the government can't ban guns, but there's nothing to stop the government from banning bullets.
Watch your mouth.
Shut your mouth. But the truth of the matter is exactly that is the case. And in a lot of Western states, right now, they're considering putting taxes and regulations on ammo purchases that will require background checks and limits as to what you can buy. I mean, it's getting a little crazy what could be right around the corner for a lot of gun enthusiasts. It makes it a lot harder for people to go out and enjoy shooting.
It's true. And let alone practice. So, one of the things I also want to point out is that right now with our current presidency, we're going to watch not only gun prices come down, but the ammo prices are going to stay pretty consistent here for a while, and maybe come down just a hair. But like Warren Buffett has said, you know, he gets in on stocks when they're low. You don't buy stocks when they're high. You buy when they come down. So this might be the best time if you're thinking about stocking.
Absolutely. And just because the federal government may not have their eyes on your ammo purchases, creating extra regulations or burdensome taxes, That doesn't mean that states won't do it. That's where it's actually going to happen. States have the ability to manipulate these things to the degree that they want to, as long as the voters allow it. So what I want to talk about is the question of how much ammo is enough. You know, you talk about people who hoard ammo, and then there's some people that think that's just crazy talk. You know, how much ammo is too much? Well, you know, if you have one can of ammo, for some people that's plenty. And it depends a lot on what different calibers you have. You know, personally, I think it depends on what you're preparing for. Preppers prepare for something. Well, people who are gun enthusiasts prepare for the government to get involved and try to make it more difficult for them to enjoy their hobby. So, if you're preparing for the end of the world and complete meltdown of society, you're probably going to stockpile quite a bit of ammo. But if you're just preparing for things to get a little bit more difficult for the gun culture in the future, you probably want to think about getting some ahead.
Well, I just want to point out, I am not a hoarder, by the way, but I want to point out that if someone would, I think it would be very important for them to not put their eggs in one basket. I've seen some of these shots on the internet or videos where these guys are showing off their stash of ammo, and the shelves are actually bowing downward because there's so much weight. But here's the thing, like anybody that's seen the movie The Hunger Games, and they all come up from the elevators, everybody runs for that pile of weapons. Let's just put it this way, I'd hate to be the guy in the house that has all the ammo, because it's only going to take, you know, a few guys to storm the house and have your pile.
Mm-hmm.
So if you spread it out, I would say maybe if you have a storage unit, your garage, maybe a trusted friend's house, a mother-in-law, something, I don't know.
Your mother-in-law.
Nobody's going to suspect.
That's going to gain you points right there with your mother-in-law, I'm sure.
So, you know, or maybe, I don't know, a post office box, something where you can keep some ammo. But I'm of the mindset.
A post office box? I don't even know if that's legal. That could be.
They don't have to know what's in it.
Well, I know you're
know.
not supposed to take guns in there. I don't know if they have some regulation about ammo.
Not a post office box, right?
Safety deposit box?
There you go.
Or a bus station
what I do.
locker or something? Well,
that's right.
Well, you know,
see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do see what you're saying. And the point of this is people make general ideas about people who stockpile ammo. They think that that person is crazy, or they think that's the person I'm going to go and steal their ammo from if things get really bad. But everybody's kind of afraid to talk about this. And 9 times out of 10, if you talk to anybody about their ammo stockpile, they will clam up and not tell you much of anything, because we are all kind of concerned about these issues. But the bottom line is, it's a good idea for each person who's a firearms enthusiast and wants to be able to shoot into the future without a lot of burdensome concerns, to consider, just take a little bit of time and consider how much ammo you want to collect as a goal for each different caliber weapon you may have. Just think about it. That's all we're asking. Take a little time and make some decisions and set goals over time. Because one of the things that a lot of people don't stop and realize is the ammo prices that we're enjoying right now that are really low, they're probably not going to get any lower. They're only going to go up. So if you've been considering buying any ammo ahead, now would be a good time to do it.
And this is where that Bitcoin philosophy comes into play, right?
Exactly.
You're getting in at the ground level. And typically Republicans don't stay in office all that long. I was kind of surprised that it's a Republican-controlled House, Senate, and cabinet. You know, so
yeah, that could change just in the next couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you can count on the ammo to go up. So if you buy now, you could consider an investment. I wouldn't go gangbusters and max out a credit card, but I mean, you might.
Well, if you
If
just
you're in it for the long haul.
yeah, it might be worth taking a risk depending on how serious you are. But I mean, if you get a little bit of money ahead and you're thinking about something as kind of an investment, it definitely would make sense to consider this. It may not be a precious metal. Never thought of lead as a precious metal, but to be honest, you know that chances are very good that this stuff is going to be worth a lot more money 5-10 years from now than it is right now. And not only that, all ammo will outlive our lifetimes.
Until it's shot, that's right.
Yes.
And you think about all those cans of Mosin Nagant that's just floating around. And especially if you, I mean, so think about it this way. If you go with more popular rounds, there's always going to be a need for it.
Mm-hmm.
If you go with more kind of obsolete rounds, there's going to be a need for it because they stopped producing it. So either way, it's a win-win to have at least a little bit.
And if the world melts down, ammo would make a very handy currency, a very useful and handy currency. Paper dollars aren't going to matter for anything. And even gold doesn't make any sense when you're hungry. So ammo becomes a form of currency. Okay, so if you are going to buy some ammo and you want to store it, we want to talk a little bit about methods of storage. So one of the things you want to be really careful about is you don't want to put it in a place that you think is a really likely place for a fire. Now, a lot of people worry about ammo catching on fire. That's one of the reasons they don't stockpile much at all. But one thing a lot of people need to realize is that a bunch of bullets are not going to be near as dangerous in a fire as they are inside of a gun. They require a chamber to build up the pressure to fire the bullet at a rapid velocity. So if you were to throw, now don't do this, but if you were to throw a bullet in a campfire, it'd go bang really loud and bits of metal would fly around, but nothing at the velocity that comes out of the barrel of a gun.
Yeah, I don't know anything about grenade ballistics or anything like that, but I expect people probably outside of 30 yards, it's not going to be fatal, if it...
Plus, inside of a burning structure, there's all these walls and things, to absorb any kind of
they could slow
shrapnel.
it down pretty quickly.
Yeah. But one thing that's a really good idea is invest in some ammo storage boxes. Ammo gets kind of heavy. And if you're going to put it in a storage box, you want to be able to carry it around. I do not recommend paper shopping bags. So something with a handle, something that you can latch closed and carry it around is a really good idea. It also has a rubber seal that helps keep the moisture out. That's a good idea for long-term storage as well. And they come in a variety of different sizes. There's ammo boxes that are big. There's these little thin ones. There's plastic ones. And they're not necessarily meant to be submergible, but they do keep moisture and rain out. And if you keep them in a basement or some kind of a cool, dry place, they are very adequate. And you could probably store a lot of ammo long-term without desiccant.
Mm-hmm. What about people falling asleep right now? Should we wake them up?
Yeah. So it's up to you to decide how much ammo is enough for you. So one other question that I have,
Yes.
and that's probably enough for today, and that is reload or stockpile. If you're a reloader, you want to save your brass cases. And if you are a shooter, you want to pick up your brass cases because you probably know a reloader that would be glad to have it. And they might even make you a few rounds every now and then for the trouble.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, almost everybody knows a reloader somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, we got bags of brass that this could become a form of currency to somebody.
It costs money.
You might give them 500 brass casings for, a box of 50. Who knows?
Yep,
And
absolutely.
that could come in super handy.
And just realize, very, very few people reload 22, and steel case is not worth saving.
Can you reload 22?
There are people that do it.
I don't know how you would do that.
There are machines that will now allow you to reload 22 cases. I don't know how it works, but there are some people that actually do it.
Mm.
It seems like that would be not worth the trouble, but if it's a hobby and they love doing it, more power to them. So any more thoughts on this interesting subject of investment bullets?
Well, I'm just curious to know what else Hillary has in her barn. She may have a stockpile.
of rounds. Yeah, if anybody,
She might
it's
next
funny.
to the bleach.
It's funny how the liberals, they tell everybody you can't have guns, but they're the ones that actually wind up,
Oh, they're packing.
yeah, or their security details are.
Yeah.
If there's money to be made, they will make it.
Yeah, I bet their security detail doesn't vote their way.
That's absolutely true. And one of the surest signs that a person is a liberal, if they vote to ban something, you can be certain they're looking to increase the value of their own investment. So just some food for thought.
They'll name it the opposite of whatever it is.
Yes, one of the surest ways to increase the value of investment is to ban it and make it more hard to get. So that's a game that they play.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching. This is Max Headspace
For you,
and
Des.
Yumpin' Yiminy Foy, the Tactical Cowboy.
All right. Thanks
Signing
for
out.
having me.
You ruined our whole shot. No.
Just bleep me out. Put a gunshot on.